I'm Executive Chef Billy Oliva for Delmonico's Restaurant Group. Today we're going to talk about how to carve a large roast beef. Depending on what cut of meat you use, depends on how you're going to carve it. Typically, if you're doing a rib roast, that's our prime rib, you want to stand it up. Today we're doing a top round of beef, which is a very big piece of meat, which we've broken down into two pieces. One of the most important things, and you'll see here on a raw piece, it's a little bit easier, is when you carve any type of meat, you always want to carve against the grain. You never want to go with the grain. When you carve with the grain, you're going to have a chewy piece of meat that doesn't seem like you're ever going to go anywhere. So the most important thing is carve against the grain. And if you take a look at this piece here, this top round, you can see these lines that run back and forth on the meat. That's the grain of the meat. So after this is cooked, we're going to want to carve across it. Very simple procedure. So now let's go ahead and get this in the oven and get it cooked so we can cut it up later. So here we have our top round. It's been seasoned, salt and pepper, rubbed with a little bit of oil. We've tied it just to hold it together a little bit uniform as best as we could. Okay, so we just took our beautiful roast beef out of our amazing Rational oven. We've let it rest for about 10-15 minutes. Very important, any type of meat, even if it's a small steak, very important, let it rest. Let those juices come back into the middle. Let the steak relax before you cut it. If you cut it right out of the oven, all those juices are going to run out onto the table and you're going to lose all that flavor, all that moisture, and that's not what you want to happen. You can still see the grain of the meat going in this direction. So we're going to cut across that. We trimmed this up pretty good before we cooked it, so we don't have to remove much fat. We're just going to get down to business and we're going to carve a few slices. I'm using kind of a non-traditional knife to carve this. This is a knife I feel comfortable with. The two important keys when you're using a knife. One, you want to feel comfortable with the knife. Two, it has to be sharp. If you have an electric knife at home, go ahead, use that. Just what you feel comfortable with. So we've cut a few slices off already. We've gotten kind of to the center. And now, just going to cut as thin as we can down the center. Try and get a nice full slice. You want to let the knife do the work. Don't want to force it. Take one more slice. If you're hungry, and I'm hungry, do one more slice. Here we have our sliced roast beef. Hope you guys are hungry. I know I am. That should be enough for me. Let's go ahead and plate this up now. I like my slices kind of nice and thick. Here, we're just going to lay that here. We have some grilled asparagus that we're going to serve with this today that we grilled off earlier and just kind of reheated them up. And here I have a little bit of a red wine demi-glace or a red wine sauce. We make this here in Delmonico's, but now in some of these specialty food markets, you can find some that are already done. I'm going to put a little bit of our red wine sauce on our meat. And here we have some very thinly sliced red onion that we've lightly deep fried. Now we're going to garnish that with some crispy fried onions. Kind of right in the middle there. I'm Executive Chef Billy Oliva for the Delmonico's Restaurant Group, and that's how you carve a large roast beef. For more information, check us out at delmonicosrestaurantgroup.com. Now let's eat.